Oh my gosh, who is she? She hasn't been around in a while, but my son fell asleep. I slapped some lipstick on and I wanted to film a sit down. A sit down! Oh my god. Unbeknownst to everybody, because I've been really quiet, I actually have been vlogging over the last week, doing a reading vlog, and I kept trying to film intros and they just never worked. And so here we are. We're gonna do the intro to the reading vlog now, and then we'll cut to the end, or we'll cut to the beginning. You know, I'm doing it all out of order. But I just wanted to say, hi everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Oh my gosh. When was the last time I literally said that? I've only posted one video this year, but a lot of things have happened in my life that I'm starting over. That's kind of like, that's the title of this vlog. I am starting over on a number of different things reading wise, but a number of things in my life as well. So as I'm filming this, it is November 4th, 2024. I made my first YouTube video for Booktube 6 years ago. There was a big point in my life where I had so much time available to me, and then the pandemic happened, and then I had a baby, and then I got a promotion at work, and all of these life things happened, and you saw me basically disappear because who has the time to indulge in your hobbies? Who has time to indulge in the things that you love to do? Certainly not me. Let's see, it was April, so a couple months now. I like the whole summer ago, almost the whole fall ago. April, I quit my job. I left higher education. I had been working for the same university for 10 years, worked my way up to a decent position where I was supervising people. I was supervising actual adults, not students, right? It was through all of that my mental health took a complete nosedive, my reading took a complete nosedive, and I quit. There's a lot of other things that kind of go into a decision of quitting your job, right? But I basically left with no plans to return to work. And so that means I am now a stay-at-home mom. Never thought I'd be that. I have my son at home full-time with me because now that I don't work, I can't afford childcare. So we love that life for us. Sarcasm. There is so much sarcasm in here. But yeah, I have my 3-year-old at home with me, and I'm just doing the stay-at-home mom thing. And in the months of me doing the stay-at-home mom thing, I've had a lot of time to reflect on what it is I want to be doing. And it really is I want to be back doing the creative things that I have loved for so long. I cannot believe that my first Booktube video was 6 years ago. And that was when I was hustling, grinding, working full time. And then you saw me get a dog. She's still around. And then some of you saw me have a child. So yes, he's still around. And now I'm here and I find myself with time to do the things that I love again. And so in this stage of my life where I have no intention of going back to work until my son is in school, or maybe I won't go back to work, I have found myself really on this cusp of I'm starting over, and I'm going to start my booktubing over. I'm going to be able to devote full-time energy to booktube and book content creation. And as if I wasn't busy enough already, I also started a small business making small batch soaps, body care, candles. So I'm going to be weaving all of that stuff into my reading vlogs. And I really hope that you'll enjoy. I hope that this is a fun surprise that you're seeing my face. And yeah, so that's the intro. Hello, everyone. I cannot wait to begin this journey and just actually indulge in that creative entrepreneur life I've always wanted, but never found myself being able to do. And here I am at 37 years old, starting over. Isn't that wild? So to set you up for the reading vlog, I had been in like the biggest reading slump of my life this year because of quitting my job, because my mental health was so bad. Like, it was just a very toxic place for me to be. I kind of feel like I have a little bit of trauma from that experience, I'm not gonna lie. So I was in no position to read, but the things that I was reading at the beginning of the year, it's kind of where I left off at the end of last year, where I had like a lot of romance on my shelves, and then I got into a big Hermione fanfic mood, and then just kind of like slump. Well, in my slump, I still follow like my favorite Hermione Instagram accounts. I still follow some of my favorite fan art accounts, and y'all, they got me in the mood. They got me in the mood again. So I am embarking, and here's my reading starting over. I am embarking on rereading all of the Sarah J. Maas verse. That's right. It was basically the fan art where I was like, God, I miss them. I miss them so much. And I already know about like the gigantic spoiler at the end of, what is it, Crescent City Book 2. So I'm almost caught up on like all of her stuff. I kind of fell off Throne of Glass. I read Crescent City 1, DNF'd Book 2, and then I read the first 3 ACOTAR books, but didn't continue when Sarah J. Maas published 2 new additions to that world. And now I'm looking at things with a whole new eye, a whole new lens because of that spoiler, that it made me want to go all the way back to the beginning and start over on Sarah J. Maas. So this reading vlog is going to be the Throne of Glass reading vlog part 1. I don't know at the start of the vlog, like if I was done with ACOTAR at that point and I was just starting Throne of Glass, or if I was like mid Throne of Glass about to start Crown of Midnight, because there's just like a lot on my mind about Sarah J. Maas, the Maas verse. I'm trying to pay attention to the things that I didn't pay attention to before because I was only looking for just like good time fae books. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm really trying to like make the connection between all of her books, and see if I can find some of those common threads in there. I'm pretty excited. So the start of next week's reading vlog is going to be me starting on the Assassin's Blade. So I made it all the way through ACOTAR 1, 2, 3, and then Throne of Glass 1, 2, 3, just finished Heir of Fire. And then, so the order that I'm going to be doing everything in, I want to do, I kind of was doing some research, and I think I'm going to do Assassin's Blade short stories, and then do book 4, and then tandem read books 5 and 6. I don't know. If you think that's the way I should do it, let me know. That's enough of this intro. That's where I'm going to start you off on the vlog, is me starting over from the beginning on reading Sarah J. Maas. I'll see you there.
All alive. The devil's in the detail, lingered inside. Oh, a holy crime. But how can I hide you without an alibi?
This week for product launch, I'm releasing 2 brand new soaps to like my permanent collection.
Can you eat those?
No, those are for Halloween.
Oh, those are tricky.
They're for trick-or-treating. They're cookies, but you can't have them until Halloween. Yeah, this week for product launch, I'm launching 2 soaps that are going to be in my permanent collection, which are the labels that I'm cutting right now. So I've got Desert Bloom and Miele Cafe. And these ones, I still have to wrap and then like write product descriptions before I can list them live on the website. But the plan is that they'll be up November 1st. And then I have my 2 seasonal soaps. So that's going to be the mulled cider with Honeycrisp apple. And then I've got a winter squash one, which is unscented. So that's what I've been prepping for this week, and not really planning on making like new products because I'm just trying to get this stuff up online. Oh, do you like this Band-Aid? By the way, I burned myself while working with the beeswax. And I also got beeswax on my shirt, which I did last time too. I should just remember that I should wear an apron whenever I'm melting beeswax because it is a very messy job and it's still melting. It's just kind of a really long process. Here's what I'm thinking with so far starting over again on Throne of Glass. I forgot that Sarah J. Maas wrote Throne of Glass as a teenager. And so just like the writing, the difference in her writing style is so crazy. The things that used to really grind my gears and bother me in ACOTAR like weren't even things that I was thinking about or cared about when I was reading it this time around. I started it this morning and I hope to finish it today. Basically, like, we've had quite a big of a time jump because I have to do like my mom things and my mom chores, take care of my son, make sure he's happy and healthy, and then I can get back to reading. I'm not sure if I should do this one on audio, like if I should get this series on audio, because I can't, like, in this new phase of my life, right? As a stay-at-home mom, my priority is my son, and I can't just like pop my headphones on and listen to an audiobook all day the way that I could at work if I was working on a project, right? But I really want to finish that book today, is basically been my plan since I woke up this morning not knowing that I was gonna do beeswax. That wasn't in the plan today. Okay, beeswax progress. So the lesson is, if you ever want to work with beeswax, you honestly should just devote whatever utensils and tools that are going to be in contact with the wax to just like be for beeswax. Like this pair of tongs, yeah, right, I'm never going to be able to get all that off. And then here's the mold situation. So I'm basically going to be pouring everything into my beeswax pitcher and then distributing it amongst these molds. I think I have enough molds. If not, I have a few more. But basically I'm just trying to break that 5-pound block into something a little bit more manageable. All right, and then, okay, so here's the difference between how I was wrapping them initially. So I've got the label on the inside with its vellum paper. To protect it, I pretty much just wanted to wrap it like this, so that way, since I'm only doing online right now, I'm not doing anything in person, I wanted to be able to protect things as I sent them out in my shipping. But so I don't love, like, they just, you can't really see the ingredients, and I mean, it does look really pretty, and if this was like a bullet journal, that would be fine. Instead, that's why I'm printing it on that sticker paper now, and then just wrapping it and then putting the label on the outside. So that takes me so long because I'm wrapping all of these like individually. Yeah, just getting ready for the holiday season. There's lots of stuff kind of in the works, and there's all the supplies. That's the wax melter that is not for beeswax. Okay, beeswax is done. Gosh, how long? That took me several hours. Several hours. So I've got, gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half, 6, 7 and a half molds for that 5-pound block. So these were the first ones that I poured, and they take forever to cool down. These ones are like 2-ounce molds. I thought these hexagon ones were 4 ounces, but considering how fast they filled up, I don't know yet. So I'm gonna weigh those and actually like see what those were. So that's 4 ounces too. And so basically we're just letting them cool, and then I'll get them in their little jar, in their little home. We don't clean out this, and we don't clean out this. and we don't clean out these other beeswax supplies, so we're basically just letting it all cool before I put it away. Okay, so it is the next day, and I made it through 75%.
And then 35.
Okay, you're gonna have to go play. Okay, see ya. So it's the next day, and I made it through 75% of Throne of Glass last night, and it was a late night, and I didn't actually get to read a lot during the day. I spent most of my like 8 p.m. hour till like 11 to midnight hour reading, because, well, you heard him, so I basically had to get all of that stuff done before I could like really sit down, because I kept trying to like pick the book up during the day, and it just like, it wasn't clicking. And I knew this was going to be a rough reread for me, because I didn't love it the first time. The second time, I also didn't love it as equally as I've loved some of the other books in the series. I knew this time around was going to be kind of a rough go, because it wasn't my favorite the first time I read it, and it definitely wasn't my favorite this time I've read it. This time around, I gave Throne of Glass 3 stars. It was the same as the first time. So the first time that I read it, I think I was mostly caught up in the love triangle. That's not really a love triangle, and I think I gave it a 3-star because I had probably just come off of ACOTAR like I did this last time, and it wasn't as beautifully laid out as ACOTAR / the whole trilogy. So I think that's where my headspace was. This time around, reading Throne of Glass, I don't think that I would have reread this had it not been for my commitment to this reread. The reason why I gave it a 3-star read was because the writing this time around was what really bothered me, and the writing is extremely juvenile, and I don't mean juvenile in the terms of making fun of the love triangle, because like that's not what we're about on this channel. I'm saying that the writing, it is very obvious that this is one of her earlier works, and I know for a fact, because I've read so much of her stuff, I know for a fact that Sarah J. Maas gets better than this. So it was really like me slogging through this for the sake of reading the series and for the sake of reading all of the books in Sarah J. Maas's world. And since this is the first time that I'm trying to read everything back to back to back, I know about like book 3, and book 3 being my favorite one of the ones that I've read so far. And it's like, I'm just trying to get back to that action instead of what's going on here. But at the same time, I was trying to like pay attention to everything that was going on in here much more than I did the first time. Here's a couple things that I didn't get to a Halloween book this year, and I think that this could be kind of considered my Halloween book, even though Halloween's tomorrow, is because I forgot how creepy this book was. Like, this is like legitimately got some creepy vibes, some creepy scenes. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. And I think that's where like the 3-star came for me, because the writing itself was so unpolished at that stage that it's like, I know Sarah J. Maas has ideas. She's definitely proven that she has ideas. It's like parts of this book she could have gone so much farther with the writing. You know what I mean? She could have gone farther with some of these scenes, set it up a little bit better, set it up a little bit more intricately. It was fine and everything like that. But yeah, I wish she would like go back and maybe re-release this one. I don't know. It's still a 3-star though. It's still a 3-star for me. So I have already started on Crown of Midnight, right? Is that book number 2? Yes. I've started on Crown of Midnight, and I'm only like 10% of the way through that, because go figure, I have a toddler and keeping him alive. But we are also, I'm gonna go vote today, so that's gonna take up some of my time. I don't know how long that's gonna take me. Early voting shouldn't be too long, The last US presidential election, I went to early voting, and that was so much faster, but there's still a line, there's still a process. So I don't know how long that's going to be. But yeah, so basically I'm just going to be trying to work my way through Crown of Midnight today. I'm going to go vote. I don't know if I'm going to wrap any soap, because if I wrap soap, then I can't read. Maybe when my husband gets home and he can distract Ben, then maybe I can do listen along instead of reading it. I don't know yet. Okay, I'm rambling now. I'm going to get back to Crown of Midnight. That's the update. That's where we're at so far. Oh, y'all, I'm struggling. Okay, so it's 8:30 at night. I'm 33% of the way through Crown of Midnight because I haven't gotten that much time to sit down. But we did vote today, so that's fun. All right, it's 8:30. I'm gonna see how late I can go. I know, oh my God, 8:30 and I'm already in bed. Well, not for like, there's still makeup on my face, so I gotta get out of bed sometime to wash this makeup off. But what I'm saying is, I'll see how late I can stay up and see how far I can get. I don't think I'm gonna finish Crown of Midnight tonight. I think it's going better than Throne of Glass. It's definitely going better than the first book. Now I'm invested, but there's the part of me that has already read book 3, and I know I loved book 3, and I'm just trying to get there. I'm just trying to get through this like initial conflict and mystery that we have going on, and I just really want to get to book 3. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm like, I've had 2 placeholder books that I'm really just reading for the sake of reading through the whole series. I know there's a twist that's coming. I don't remember what the twist is. So I keep reading this, trying to figure out if I can remember, like, if there actually is a twist, if my mind is playing tricks on me, if there's a character in here that I'm like not seeing what their real motives are. But I seem to recall that a twist is coming, and I'm trying to see if I can remember it. I'm not recalling anything. The kinds of things that I'm recalling are that this is the book, I mean, spoilers if you haven't read book 1, but this is the book where Selena has officially been named as the King's Champion. So now she's like going out to do his work, and so we get to see that side of Selena that we really didn't get to see in book number 1, which I'm glad of, because book number 1 we spend this whole time talking about like what a badass and like how she's like this assassin above all assassins, but we don't ever get to see her work. This time around we get to see more of her work, so I'm having fun with that. There's not a lot much that I am remembering, so 1/3 of the way through. We're going to power through tonight to see how much more I can read, and then we'll see how much I have left tomorrow. Tomorrow is officially Halloween, so I know for a portion of the evening I'm going to be taking my son trick-or-treating, but I typically don't stay out all night handing out candy, so I'll definitely get to come back in and read some more. So hopefully I'll be on book 3 by tomorrow. That's kind of my goal. I think for the sake of this vlog, what I want to do is like get through books 1 through 3 of Throne of Glass. So that way I can start my part 2 vlog once I get to Assassin's Blade, which are all short stories that I haven't read yet. And I think that could be fun. And just kind of like get the fresh material in a newer vlog. But for now, I think the goal, let's see how long it's going to take me to get through book number 3. It is day 3 of the vlog. As I suspected, I wasn't going to get all the way through Crown of Midnight last night, but you saw when I threw in the towel. Do you want to get started on your Sammy while I cut your apple?
Yes.
Okay. So I made it like 70 something percent of the way through Crown of Midnight last night. And then I was up at like 6 this morning. And I was able to finish pretty quickly once I was awake. And now that it's lunchtime, I want to see how much of Heir of Fire I can get through. But Crown of Midnight was a 3.5 star rounded up to 4 stars. And I liked it better this time around. I still know I liked it way better than Throne of Glass, but it was still like, I just kept waiting for the action to begin. I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And so the big twist that I was thinking that was gonna happen, it doesn't happen in Crown of Midnight. Now I'm thinking it happens in Heir of Fire, which might be why I loved Heir of Fire so much. There was a lot that happened at the end of Crown of Midnight that I did recall, like once things started getting going. I do feel like the ending, super powerful, but also rushed, like in terms of like the revelations that we get about Selena, about kind of like this rebel undertaking. I do think I have like the same feelings as I did toward the end of Throne of Glass, where I just wanted to be done with book 2 so that way I could get to like the real main plot line. It kind of sucks because it's like it took 2 books to really set us up to what I think the rest of the series is supposed to be about. And I haven't changed my mind on that like it didn't need to be 2 books. If she had been a little bit more mature in her writing when she started these, I think it could have been a more successful start to the series. I really think it could have just been 1. At this stage, I still think the contest to become the King's Champion was just filler. We could have gotten to how Selena is involved with the royal family in a better way. I just think that maybe at the time, I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look up to see like at what time what time Sarah J. Maas wrote and published Throne of Glass. But I feel like at the time that she published it, all of these like competition type of YA novels were the it thing. And I think that's the only reason why she put the contest in there for book 1. But I'm looking at the larger picture, and I really don't think, even after book 2, I really don't think it did anything to bring our plot forward, aside from like provide some sort of vehicle for Selena to become the King's Champion, or to have such an intricate interest in this rebel faction, right? So secrets are out in the open now, and I am going to be starting on Heir of Fire. And I'm excited. I really hope it lives up in my mind. Like, I think the things that are gonna happen in this book. I really hope so. Okay, I'm gonna get to reading. Okay, pause. Did this map get an upgrade? This is way more detailed. I'm gonna have to compare. Like, in the most recent Bloomsbury publishing of these books, not the original covers, did the maps get an upgrade? What's your candy situation looking like, Ben? You got enough? They have candy up there, Ben. Okay, we've been done trick-or-treating for a while, and now people are just partying outside. So I came in to catch up on my reading of Heir of Fire. So I have some thoughts. It is definitely a step up from the first 2 books. So I was correct in remembering that. And I remember loving the witches storyline, and that still holds true. Like, I love the witches storyline. It's just, I think there's so many times when, like, I don't love switching POVs, and I used to have this problem when I would try and read Throne of Glass the first time around, like the whole series, is I would put the book down for so long and then pick up the next one, and it took forever to get to the next one, that I forgot so much, and I forgot so much of the different POVs and who all these people were and how they connected to each other. So that would usually bring me out of the story, and I knew at that moment that I would have to start reading these again closer together. So I can firmly say that that has definitely helped, that I've just been kind of going through them, so I'm not forgetting those little details. But I just seem to be like, I normally don't love certain POVs when they switch, right? There's always like one POV in a storyline that I'm always like really trying to just kind of rush through. Oh my gosh. Oh. But that hasn't been the case with this. I've really enjoyed like seeing Dorian's perspective, seeing Kale's perspective. Honestly, I think like Selena's perspective might be my least favorite right now out of all of them, because I'm preferring like reading from Manon's perspective over Selena's perspective. So it's just been fun to kind of switch things up, get out of Rifthold, get out of the castle, and explore different areas of the world. I think that some parts feel a little rushed. Like, all of a sudden, I'm only on page like 113, and Selena's already like off on this really new adventure, so different from everything that we've seen her do. I think that's maybe why she's my least favorite perspective right now, because her storyline just seems like really rushed. In comparison to like Dorian and Kale are still in the castle, and that just kind of feels like it's kind of dragging a little bit. And then Manon is so exciting because she's new, right? And we're learning about this whole new culture of all the clans of witches, which I love. Like, I love seeing this kind of new style of witch that we don't really get in a lot of fantasy. Just like this whole idea of the clans and how they have their seconds, and you know, the different clans are responsible for different things. I love it. I love it all. So I'm having a good time. Oh my gosh. Trick-or-treating is winding down, but I'm gonna keep going and see how late I can get with this one. Okay, my son and my husband are out of the house, and I am making soap currently. But now I finally have a chance to get you up to speed on where I'm at. And that is that I have finished Heir of Fire. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely worth the trudge through books 1 and 2. It was definitely the book that I needed to inspire me, to keep me going, because there was a lot that I forgot. And once we got into like all of the action of the second half, it was like exactly what I needed, and reaffirmed like, all right, you can do this, because now things are going to get really good. Now things are going to get really exciting. The reasons why I didn't give it a 5-star was because I think the first half was still a little bit more on the weak side. It was a little bit slower than the second half, which is totally fine because there was like a build up to it, but I had to push really, really hard to make it to the 75% mark. And then this morning, once I had gotten past that point, then I could finish. So I guess some of the thoughts that I had while reading it is, I stand by what I said in that I definitely think books 1 and 2 needed to be combined. There had to have been a way to rework those that you didn't get quite the same payoff at the end of both of those, the way that you did with book 3. Like book 2 definitely had the big bomb drop on us where we find out that Selena is in fact Aelin. I don't know how we're supposed to say her last name, so I might have to figure out from other people what the pronunciation is. I have no idea. So we find that out. That's our big truth bomb. So I kind of called book 3 like Aelin's training montage, but now the world is so much more open to us because she's no longer in the castle, and I think I mentioned that in my previous update. Manon and Abraxas are still my favorite part of this book. I wasn't expecting to get wyverns or dragons the first time that I went through this series. Well, I had made it to book 5 and then I quit. And I'm really happy that they're there. I'm really happy that Manon and Abraxas are exactly as I remember them being, just so awesome. And I mean, I'm such a sucker for the wyvern rider, dragon rider relationship and bond. It's never gonna top that for me, I don't think. And okay, here's some predictions because I haven't gotten that far, but I think that Manon is gonna turn good. I mean, all the groundwork has been laid there for Manon to turn to the good side, and to bring her wyverns, at least some of them, maybe not all of her 13 as a part of her original coven. Maybe there's a new coven that forms that turn loyal to Aelin. I think that's the move, because why would you have her questioning like the status quo? And why would you have her kind of like our last scene with Manon, and she's just kind of like off alone with Abraxas, contemplating what this Cochrane witch had said to her. Why would you have her challenging the status quo if she wasn't going to turn to the good side, or at least to the gray side? You know, if she straddles the line between good and evil for the whole of the series, I'd be fine with that. I really would. She is by far the most interesting character of book 3, and that's including Rowan. But I do love Rowan. That just goes to show, like, everybody loves Rowan, and I think figuring out that there's like this really cool bond between Aelin and Rowan, and that includes Aedion. Loved him too. It really was like Dorian and Kale bringing the story down for me. They were the least interesting of our original characters. I mean, Emrys and his mate. That was wonderful. That was so wonderful. So like, despite the slowness of Aelin's training montage, I understand why it's there. I understand why it's necessary. And of course it like really kind of sets us into like that bigger mystery with the Varg. Relearning fantasy names of everything is really hard. Okay. I'm just melting some oils that are gonna go into this pot of oils. And then I also have to, see, there's the messy part of my kitchen. This is the nice part of my kitchen. And that's the messy part because the fridge hides everything, you know? Okay, so some predictions of mine. Well, here's a question. Can Fae have more than one mate? Because our Akatar Fae, it seems like there's only one mate for them. But of course, I'm rooting for Rowan and Aelin to be mated pair, but he was already mated with someone. But here's why I root for that, is because how else are they talking through that like silent link that they have? Because all other Fae that we've encountered, again, this is Akatar, but still the whole point of me rereading is to try and make these connections, is the Akatar Fae, once they found their mate, they can have that kind of silent communication. So why can she have that silent communication with him? Well, I'm just saying. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for this initial vlog. I really hope this is what you're looking for when it comes to my vlogs. I'm just, like I said in my intro, I am starting over. I'm starting over with my booktube channel, and it's now going to become like I'm going to be able to put my whole full-time self, the parts that are not momming, you know, toward reading books again. I've got my business here, and I'm just kind of like living that creative life that I've always wanted to have. I've always wanted to be like an entrepreneur, small business owner, and I've always wanted to be like a full-time booktuber, and I could just never do those things. So I really hope that you're gonna be sticking around for this go around. So we're gonna do Sarah J. Maas for sure. So the next vlog that goes up will be Assassin's Blade, and then I might get through that tandem read of books 5 and 6 and then do a whole separate vlog on Kingdom of Ash. I'm not sure yet, but if that sounds like a good, you know, breaking order, if that sounds like a good order for splitting the vlogs up, let me know. And then I have a booktube discount code for my business. So if you're interested in ordering any of the products that I make, I will have all of that information listed below. Thank you so much for your support in that way. Because we're doing it. We're doing the full-time stay-at-home parent, but also with your creative side ventures that I've always wanted to do. And I feel like this community is going to provide me a lot of support for this kind of venture, and I'm so excited. So thank you so much for joining. Let's see, whatcassread. I'm on, not on X. I don't know if I should be. So I'm currently on Instagram. Find me on there. And then, I don't know, I might have to join TikTok, but I'm not very good at the short form content, but just let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I've loved y'all. I've missed y'all. If you have any thoughts on my Sarah J. Maas reread, kind of tackling the whole Maasverse head on, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see y'all in the next one. You know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.